warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, this is presentation video of group 2 and we are going to discuss about articulatory phonetic. Make sure to pay good attention as we will have question and answer session at the end. But before that, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Diana Hairunisa as the first speaker.
My name is Ahmad Dhani.
My name is Indra Sari.
Miss M. Bagus Valianova.
My name is Emma Saswita.
My name is Adi Nugroho Pangestu.
Alright everyone, there are three types of phonetic: auditory, acoustic, and articulatory. So, what is articulatory phonetic? This is a study about how speech sounds are produced physically in the human body, especially in the respiratory apparatus, and deals with the sender rather than the receiver. And why is it important for us to learn about articulatory phonetic? In order to help people with their speech, we need to be able to understand how things work normally. This knowledge is crucial for understanding the mechanics of speech and how different sounds are created. Teachers of foreign language find it beneficial because it can help them to explain the pronunciation to their student. For speech pathology, as they work with individuals who have speech disorders, the knowledge of articulatory phonetic is essential for assessing and treating the disorders effectively. Learning articulatory phonetic can help researchers and linguistics to study different accent and dialect, as it allows for a detailed analysis of specific speech sounds pattern in these varieties. Alright, now let's talk about apparatus. Apparatus in human body has two systems: respiratory for breathing and digestive for food processing. Vocal apparatus major organs consist of lung, trachea, larynx, and the vocal tract. How is the process? When the lung pump the air, the vocal tract convert it into the sound, which we can use for a purpose like communication. Alright, I will tell it more specific. Air from the lung travel up to the trachea and into the larynx, or we call it as voice box. The larynx contains a valve to protect the airway and the lungs from the foods and fluids. These membranes are called vocal folds or vocal cords. The space between the vocal cords is called glottis. And a membranous flap, epiglottis, covers up the glottis during swallowing. As a result, food does not enter the trachea but is routed through the esophagus into the stomach. And then the air continues to the vocal tract. Vocal tract itself has structures like oral cavity or mouth, pharynx the throat, and nasal cavity the nose, which are responsible for modifying and shaping the sounds produced by the vocal cords in the larynx. Alright, now I would like to talk about the difference between human and animals' system organ for communication. For some animals, evolution has resulted in specific organ only for communication. For instance, siamang, Hylobates syndactylus, a small-bodied ape from Asia, has an air sac under their chin. It used for magnify the animal's host. Although there are many other examples of specialized structures used only for communication, most animal communication is accomplished by anatomical structures that are used for other activities. For example, a snake may shake its tail as a warning signal, even though its tail involved primarily for balance and movement. In human, the larynx play a crucial role in speech and vocal communication. The human larynx is positioned lower than the throat, allowing for a wide range of sound production. The anatomical feature is specialized for spoken language. In contrast, many other primates such as chimpanzees and gorillas also have a larynx, but that's positioned higher than the throat. It allows them to produce sounds for purposes like breathing, swallowing, and making vocalization, including warning calls, mating calls, and social signals, which is not as specialized for speech as the human larynx. Alright, I think that's from me. Let's continue to the next speaker.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ahmad Dhani. My student number is 009 and I'm speaker 2. Here I would like to explain about breathing and speech. Breathing is essential for speech production. When we speak, we use a controlled air release from our lungs to create sound. Inhalation. This is when we take in air to supply the necessary airflow for speech. We breathe in through our nose or mouth, filling our lungs with air. This process helps to generate the energy needed for speaking. Exhalation. This phase involves controlled release of the air we've inhaled. As we speak, the muscles controlling our diaphragm and rib cage work together to regulate the airflow. The air passes through the vocal cords in the larynx, causing them to vibrate and produce sound. By adjusting the tension in our vocal cords and the airflow rate, we create different pitches and volumes of sound, forming words and sentences. One speech disorder related to breathing difficulty is called spasmodic dysphonia. This is a neurological disorder that affects the muscles controlling the vocal cords. People with spasmodic dysphonia experience involuntary muscle spasms in the during speech, which can lead the voice breaks, strained speech, and even complete voice stoppages. Breathing difficulties can be present in individuals with this disorder, as the spasms can disrupt the normal coordination of breathing and phonation. Another condition is asthma indicated dysphonia. Asthma is respiratory condition that can affect breathing patterns. Individuals with asthma may experience difficulty with breath due to the reduced lung capacity and airflow. This can lead to change in pitch, vocal quality, and overall speech clarity. In both cases, managing the underlying breathing difficulties through medical treatment, speech therapy, and techniques to improve breath control can help alleviate the impact of the speech disorder. That's all for me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello everyone, my name is Sari. Okay, here I'm become speaker 3, and here we are going to talk about voice and sound. Okay, what is voicing? Voicing refers to the presence or absence of vocal cord vibration during the production of speech sound. When producing voice sound, such as vowels and certain consonants, the vocal cords come together and vibrate as a phased rhythm. This vibration creates a distinct tonal quality in the sound, often described as a buzzing. Okay, how about voicing and speech? Voicing and speech refer to the vibration or lack of vibration of the vocal cords or vocal cord during the production of speech sound. It's a key feature that distinguishes between different speech sound and plays vital role in language communication. When a sound is voiced in contrast, voiceless sound are produced without vocal cord vibration. The vocal cords are held apart, and the sound is produced by the movement of air throat contraction in the vocal tract, like the lips, tongue, teeth, or other parts of the mouth. This produces a nose-like quality without the characteristic vocal. Voicing is significant because it helps differentiate sounds that are otherwise produced in similar ways. For example, in English, the sound p and p are produced using the same mouth position. Okay, now, how it contributes to speech sound. Voicing is a crucial element in speech sound because it adds an extra layer of distinction and meaning to the sound we produce. Here's how voicing contributes to speech sound. We have a six contribute to speech sound, and number one is phonemic differentiation. What is voicing can create phonemic difference which are essential for distinguishing words in a language. For example, in English, the difference between zoo, like a voice, and su, like a voiceless, and solely due to voice. And number two, we have sound quality. What is sound quality? Voice sound produced with vocal cord vibration have a different quality compared to voiceless sound. And number three, we have auditory clarity. Is voicing enhancing the perceptual clarity of speech, making it easy for listeners to distinguish different sounds. And number four, we have naturalness of speech. Voicing is a natural aspect of human speech production. And number five, we have phonological patterns. Is voicing patterns can give rise to phonological roles in language. And the last, number six, cross-linguistic variation. Is different languages utilize voicing in various ways. So, in summary, voicing is a fundamental aspect of speech sound that contributes to their distinctness, clarity, and phonemic diversity. It enables us to convey a wide range of meanings and nuances in spoken language. Okay, next, we talk about voiceless sound and provide examples from different language. Okay, voiceless sound, also known as a voiceless consonant, are a type of speech sound that is produced without the vibration of the vocal cord. In other words, when producing voiceless sound, the vocal cord remain apart and do not vibrate. This results in a distinct sound quality that lacks the buzzing or humming effect created by vocal cord vibration. Voiceless consonants are articulate by shaping the airflow and manipulating the vocal tracts using various parts of the mouth, such as the lips, tongue, and teeth. They can be put in categories in two main types. We have two types. Okay, we have two categories, and number one is voiceless plosive. Is these sounds are created by momentarily stopping the airflow in the vocal tract and then releasing it suddenly. For example, include p, t, and k for voiceless plosive. And number two, we have voiceless fricative. These sounds are produced by narrowing the passage of the airflow in the vocal tract, causing it to pass through a small gap or contraction. This creates a turbulent noise. For example, include f, s, and h. Okay, now here I want to give examples of voiceless consonants from different languages. For example, in English language, in voiceless plosive, h as in pat, t as in top, and k as in cat. And voiceless fricative, f as in face. So, voiceless consonants play a significant role in distinguishing words in various languages. They can be contrasted with their voice counterparts, where the vocal cords vibrate during their production. The presence or absence of vocal cord vibration can lead to differences in meaning between words in many languages. Okay, that's all from me, and thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Ambagus Valenova with the student number of 011, and in this video I'll be explaining about articulatory phonetics. So what is articulatory phonetics? Articulatory phonetics is a study of how speech sounds or Phonemes are produced through the movement of direction of various speech organs within the vocal tract. The place of articulation refers to the specific location within the vocal tract where constriction or closure occurs, leading to production of distinct speech sounds. There are three common places of articulation are biblial, alveolar, and velar. So firstly, we have biblial sounds. So biblial sounds are produced by bringing both lips together. The airflow is completely blocked, and the air pressure builds up behind the closure before being released. So for example, P in pen. In this sound, both lips are brought together, blocking the airflow momentarily, and then releasing the lips, result in the burst of sounds due to the sudden release of the buildup mixture. Another example would be B in bat. Similar to P, but voice, meaning that the vocal cords vibrate during the production of the sound. Secondly, we have alveolar sounds. So alveolar sounds are produced by raising the tongue tip to the alveolar ridge, which is the bony ridge behind the upper front of our teeth. So for example, it is T as in top. So the tongue tips make contact with the alveolar ridge, blocking the airflow, and upon release, a burst of air is produced. Another example would be D as in dog, is a voice counterpart of T. And another example would be N in nose. In this case, the tongue makes contact with the alveolar ridge, but instead of blocking the airflow completely, it allows air to flow through the nasal passage. And thirdly, we have velar sounds. So velar sounds are produced by raising the back of the tongue to the velum, which is the soft part of the roof of the mouth towards the back. For example, K as in cat. The back of the tongue contacts the velum, momentarily blocking the airflow, and upon release, a burst of sound is produced. Another example would be G in go. It's a voice counterpart of K. It's important to note that while these examples demonstrate distinct places of articulation, the product of speech sounds is a complex interplay of various articulate movement. The exact position of the tongue, lips, and other speech organs, along with voice and airflow, determines the unique characteristics of each speech sound. So, by understanding the principle of articulate phonetics and the variation in the place of articulation, linguists and phoneticians can describe and analyze the vast array of speech sounds found in language around the world.
Manner articulation in consonant. Mouth sounds in English are made through the oral mouth cavity. Although nasal sounds do exist, there are only three nasal consonants in English. The initial sound in mouth, bilabial, and nose, alveolar, and the final sound in sing, velar. In the case of stop consonants, this involves briefly cutting off the airflow and creating pressure in the mouth, which is then released in a burst of sound. The text further illustrates the process of articulation through example of specific stop in the English language. In fricative consonants, the airflow is partially obstructed, creating turbulence friction beyond the contracted point. Unlike stop, which are held for a short period of time, a fricative sound can be held for as long as possible. The affricate start utters a stop. This is a sound that is created by a sudden stoppage in airflow. That stop followed by a hissing sound give us clues to differentiate the affricate from fricative and other stop sound. The manner of articulation affects the phonological contracts in language because it plays an essential role in distinguishing between different sounds. It is these different manners of articulation that help to differentiate between sound and make the distinction clear in the language.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Adi Nugroho Pangestu with student number 013, and me as sixth speaker will tell you guys about co-articulation in speech and its impact on speech perception. Introduction. Co-articulation is a fundamental concept in linguistics that play a crucial role in the way we produce and perceive speech. It refers to the phenomenon where the articulatory movement for producing one speech sound start before the preceding sound complete. In other words, speech sounds are not produced in isolation but rather blend together in connected speech. creating a seamless and efficient communication process. This material aims to provide an overview of coarticulation in speech and its effect on speech perception and comprehension. Number 1. Coarticulation in speech. Coarticulation occurs due to practical need for our speech organs. For example, tongue, lips, etc. To prepare for upcoming sound while still articulating the current sound, there are two main types of coarticulation. 1. Anticipatory, right to left. In anticipatory coarticulation, the articulation of a speech sound is influenced by upcoming sound. For example, in the phrase pin followed by key, the n sound is produced with the tongue touching the alveolar ridge in the preparation for the following k sound. B. Carryover, left to right. Carryover coarticulation involves the influence of preceding sound on the articulation of subsequent words. For instance, in the phrase green frog, the G sound is produced with a velar constriction due to following R sound. Number 2. Effect on speech perception. Coarticulation significantly impact speech perception and comprehension. A. Contextual variation. Coarticulation provides contextual clues that help listener predict upcoming sound. Our brain uses this clue to fill the gaps and identify speech sound more accurately, especially in noisy environment or when speech is unclear. B. Perceptual invariance. Despite coarticulation, humans are remarkably adept at perceiving speech sound consistently. Listener can recognize a specific speech sound despite variation caused by coarticulation, enabling comprehension even in fast-paced conversation. C. Vowel reduction. Coarticulation often leads to vowel reduction, where unstressed vowels become more centralized and less distinct. This phenomenon helps maintain the rhythm and flow of speech, making it easier for listeners to follow. D. Coarticulatory resistance. While coarticulation is prevalent, speech sound resists its influence. These resistant sounds are often important for distinguishing between word T and D in sit and sit. E. Cross-linguistic variation. Coarticulation pattern can vary across language, affecting how speech sounds are produced and perceived. This contributes to linguistic diversity and accent. That's all from our group, and I will open a Q&A session.